What's up, Michigan? Welcome back as Hangtime is back in the house. This is the definitive discussion on high school hoops in the state of Michigan. My name is Lauren Plant. This is TJ Kelly. State Champs Hangtime presented by Lawrence Technological University. Just want to tell you this. Every admitted student to Lawrence Tech is automatically reviewed for a scholarship. It could range from $5,000 to $16,000 per year. So that would be $20,000 to $64,000 in scholarship money over 4 years. And you're allowed up to 2 scholarships. Go to ltu.edu to find out more. You can't afford this. Check this place out. All right. So the raconteur of the rim, TJ Kelly, back in the house. How you living, bro?
Hey, 2024, everything is off to a great start.
Now, for those who may not be familiar with you, on X, he is Scoop IPS, and he is an excellent follow. I suggest you do that right now. But please give a brief explanation of how you work in the high school basketball space, AAU and otherwise.
It really just happened, with basketball, just happened by chance. But being able to follow basketball since 2003, 2004, covering the state, just trying to get my footing, not sure where I was going. And then over time, suggestions were given to me, you can reach out to college coaches, you can make this happen. And then I pretty much had a good rapport with a lot of the high school coaches. And not only that, with the landscape of basketball here in the state. Obviously, things have changed. A lot of schools have closed in the last 20 years. We've seen plenty of pros. We've seen guys, Draymond Green. We've seen Monty Morris's, and we've seen tons of other players that have really, had an influence on me continuing on here with State Champs. And Inside Prep Sports is my baby. But yeah, I've been very helpful. I've been very fortunate to be able to help a lot of kids get to college. On scholarships, even not scholarship kids, kids that are going Division III or even walk-ons, but kind of serving as a liaison to college coaches, to parents, to high school players, obviously as well, but just kind of bridging that gap with the high school coaches and college coaches, just to make it that much easier. And so when they're coming in, college coaches, let's say Ball State's coming in to play Eastern Michigan, then Ball State can say, hey, TJ, who do we need to see? Eastern Michigan's going to call me, or whoever else. And I'm fortunate that they do that, that I've earned the trust with them over the years. Obviously, nothing is built overnight. And so, I go back to when I had hair 20 years ago, and, everything's nice and smooth in 2024. So appreciate the opportunity.
Exactly. And not only that, he also helps organize a lot of the best basketball events that we have here in the state of Michigan. And we'll talk about those from time to time. So we've been doing Hangtime for years now. So these are the segments that we're going to cover each week this season, just so you guys know. First thing, paint pontifications. What is that? This will be talking news and notes. What's going around the state in high school hoops? Kind of a wild card segment. Whatever's happening, hoop fans need to know, or maybe it just has to be eating inside the craw of TJ Kelly. This is his forum that he can express that. So that we'll be doing every week. Rankings rationale. Every week, every Monday, TJ Kelly has his State Champs Top 25 rankings come out. You can find them at statechampsnetwork.com. This is the place where he talks about it. He's accountable for his rankings. So he will explain to you why he has someone ranked where they do. And we want your comments as to is he right? Is he wrong? Is he missing the boat? Or is he right on the mark? All right. Also, the Supreme Showdown. That will be where we preview the best matchup of the week. Sometimes it might be more than one game. We got one in particular we'll talk about today. And we'll wrap it up with the future forecast. What that is, these are the best games coming up next week, the events that you need to know about, and he's going to give you a little insight on what you can expect from that contest. And trust me when I tell you, we'll hold him accountable, and we'll see if he was right or if he was wrong. All right, so we're going to start with paint pontifications. TJ, what's on your mind?
The transfer portal. Finally moving on for college players. That means that scholarships are going to be more readily available for high school players for the 2025, the 26, the 27 and upcoming classes. I think that it's important for parents and players to know about the transfer rules that are happening in the NCAA. I think it's important for parents and players to know about the NIL rules that are coming along. The MHSA just passed authorization to have NILs for players here in Michigan. How much of a move or a power move is that going to make? Is that going to be a good thing? Is that going to be a bad thing? For me, I'm in uncharted waters. I'm like a 55-year-old with a VCR in 1985. Somebody's got to hook this up. But anyways, I'm just trying to be there and figure things out without just jumping into the deep end and saying, hey, this is how it's going to be, because there have been so many changes. And not only that, we don't know what's happened since 2020, since the COVID years have come along. But I'm excited. We've reached double digits, with Division I players that are out of the state of Michigan, that are going to play Division I, and that's only going to improve with the 2025 class, 26 and 27 class. But I also don't think that we're done in 2024. We have a dozen right now that have committed to Division I. I can easily see that getting back to our pre-COVID numbers of just below 20. But if we wind up reaching 20, hey, that's great for the state, and that's also great for the players as well.
All right, rankings rationale. So what we're going to do, again, you could check out TJ's top 25 rankings at statechampsnetwork.com. We're going to talk about some of the teams on his list. Let's start with number 2, East Lansing, jumping up from 9.
Well, East Lansing's undefeated. They had a great showing at the Motor City Roundball Classic, beating River Rouge. They beat West Bloomfield. They're the top of the CAAC Blue. They've got a tough matchup with Lansing Waverly that's coming up. Waverly is right in that top 25. So we're going to see what Ray Mitchell and the guys can do. Don't forget, this group last year made a trip to the quarterfinals, wound up losing to Muskegon.
And that was surprising.
Yes, but that's why I have Muskegon ranked above them, just because sometimes you have to go back to last year. Does Muskegon have their number? And until they've proven East Lansing has proven that they can beat Muskegon, and obviously Muskegon had a lot of experience, a lot more experience than East Lansing, which is East Lansing's loaded with juniors and sophomores. So we're going to see them again next year.
Absolutely. Number 3, North Farmington, moving up 7 slots.
I tell you what, a couple of additions that they've made, key additions. They got point guard Rob Smith, who transferred over from Oak Park. That was a question that I had at the beginning of the season, and I'm very familiar with Rob's game. But how he was able to fit into North Farmington with the Raiders system, with Todd Negocian's system so early, was surprising to me. And then they also have Dylan Smith, who transferred over from Walled Lake Western, 6'7" center. He fits in very well. He's able to find open shooters, open slashers, whether it be Landon Williams or Tyler Spratt going to the basket. And just how they've been able to gel earlier than what I thought, that's, for me, is proven to be number 3 for them.
All right. Muskegon from number 8 to the top spot in the state.
Well, I tell you what, Keith Guy has the ball rolling. And they obviously are known for football. Last year, they wound up making it to the state finals, losing to Cass Tech. But then they wound up
winning it this year.
With football.
Yeah.
Yeah, they wound up winning it on football, so obviously everybody knows how the Big Reds play.
Team.
But last year their basketball team wound up making it, and then 9-10 years removed from when they won the state title in 2014. But with Muskegon, they've got a lot of young guys. They've got size in the middle. They can match up with anybody. They go 6'7", 6'6", 6'7", got shooters from outside, and not only that, they're able to replace the guard play, the very important guard play that they wound up losing last year.
Well, of your rankings right now, what is the one team that you were surprised the most that they are in your top 25 at this point of the season? Meaning, at the beginning, you would have said, no way, not happening.
Catholic Central, just based off of their Catholic League, the Catholic League Central it's been so strong over the last few years, and Catholic Central has been at the bottom of that. Obviously, we always talk about Orchard Lake St. Mary's, Brother Rice, Warren De La Salle wound up winning a state title not long ago. University of Detroit Jesuit. You talk about Pat Donnelly, one of the best coaches in the state. You could say one of the best coaches in the country.
Yeah.
And so it's great to have all of that. Well, no slack to Brandon Sinawi, who has a great resume on his own at Novi High School and then at Novi Catholic Central.
Yeah.
But Torrey Jackson moving over from Grand Blanc, he's put an extra spark into this team. Uchenna Okona is been nothing short of phenomenal this year. He's going to be moving on to Division I, in my opinion, just based off of his play. And not only that, based off of who he's playing against and who he's putting numbers up against. Anybody who watched the Brother Rice game when they wound up winning at Catholic Central, it had nothing to do with the guys in the swim trunks that came, went on the baseline or whatever,
right, yes,
and
exactly.
jumped in, when Elijah Williams is making free throws. Torrey Jackson has those guys really playing on a high level. And then you look at TJ Nadeau, who is kind of just a shooter, but he's really evolved his game as a senior, where he's guarding the tallest player on the other team. He's making those extra passes and not just looking for himself as a scorer. And I think that he's really been that glue guy that it's kind of opened some guys' eyes, definitely college coaches, as far as being a one-trick pony and just being able to shoot the ball, to a guy who's also a facilitator and making plays and making his teammates better. So shout out to Torrey Jackson. Shout out to the Shamrocks. They've been nothing short of phenomenal this year.
Well, there you go. And remember, you can check out TJ's rankings every Monday at statechampsnetwork.com. Just click on the rankings tab on the homepage. All right, the Supreme Showdown. We have got a top 25 matchup this week. Number 10, Ann Arbor Huron versus number 24, Ann Arbor Pioneer. And it's good to see the Pioneers back in the fold.
Oh, it's great. I think the rivalries, when you have some of those top rivalries and they get to battle against each other and they've got great records. Ann Arbor Huron's only got one loss. Ann Arbor Pioneers undefeated. This is set up for a sellout. Hopefully the weather winds up working out for everybody on Friday. Because this is going to be one of those shows. Not only that, they get to play each other again. I don't know if anybody's ever been to the Ann Arbor Pioneer, Ann Arbor Huron game, but go for the freshman game, go for the JV game, go for the varsity game, and you can really knock out and watch a lot of basketball. And not only that, they're both strong teams, and so those guys are going to wind up moving on, and you'll be able to say, hey, I remember when that kid was on the freshman. I remember when that kid was on the JV team. So, yeah, big shout-out to those guys, and, it's good. It's just good to see that parity. They just barely beat out that game just barely beat out Dearborn High versus Fordson, which would have been the first time those teams would have been undefeated, definitely in the 21st century. But I don't know how many presidents. You might have to go back to 1962 or something like that, to see both those teams undefeated and playing against each other.
Kennedy.
Yeah.
Of the Huron Pioneer matchup, how do you feel that one at this point plays out?
I think the X factor is Makari Moore. He's one of the top juniors in the state. At 6'2", 6'3", he's strong. He gets to the point. He gets to the bucket. He's got high major offers from Iowa State, I believe. I'm not going to go further on just because I don't want to throw names out there that I don't know. Right. But he's got MAC offers. He's got probably about a dozen offers right now, and as a top 5 player in that class. He's the X factor, and it would be great to see Pioneer. And that's one of the beautiful things about rivalries. You have guys that wind up stepping up out of nowhere. Oh, I wasn't expecting that, but they get that extra fuel because they've been going against that guy since he was 9 years old or 10 years old, and now they're on the main stage here in varsity basketball. And so we'll see how that goes. But I think that Makari Moore is going to wind up getting that done. And Rich Marion has done a great job of coaching the Pioneers. So shout out to him as well.
Right. All right. The X factor. All right. Final segment of the show, the future forecast. What are we looking at coming up? MLK weekend.
Oh, without a doubt. Well, I think the first place you got to look is the Horatio Williams Freedom Games, Martin Luther King Freedom Games, which are held at Ferndale. I believe it's 6 games. First off, we've got West Bloomfield versus Harper Woods. Tawan Porter is coaching at Harper Woods. Harper Woods from the far east side on the lake. Or, I don't know, right on the cusp right there with the lake and the river right there. But coming together with the Detroit River and Lake St. Clair. They're playing in OAA. So that's quite a hike for them, saying that they're not even in Oakland County. But, yeah, that's going to be a great matchup. River Rouge versus King. Wow, you're going to have – you just talk about two hard-nosed teams, coaches that demand nothing but the best from their players and get the most out of their players.
They do.
In Joe Carr and George Ward, obviously. Kalamazoo Central versus Ferndale. You've got two of the best underclassmen in Eden Vineyard, who's a freshman, one of the top freshmen in the country, if you ask me. And then you also have Isaiah Theodol, who's 6'6" sophomore, and he's going to be one of those guys where he's going to emerge a little bit later. He could be a freshman. He just turned 15 in September. So you talk about a kid that's 6'6" right now. In a couple of years, by the time he's a senior, you're talking about 6'10", and hopefully one of the big schools in Michigan are recruiting him, Then moving on, we got number 1 Muskegon versus Depsa. Don't forget, hey, Bo Neely always has his guys ready.
Yeah.
And not only that, they've got to keep their standard up with the girls. You know,
right? Exactly.
I mean, it's one thing to have bragging rights and be with the best team, you know, and going out there and winning games and stuff like that.
And they always schedule tough.
So shout out to Bo Neely for that. And then you've got undefeated Cass Tech, state champion, Division I state champion Cass Tech, and they're going up against Davison. Davison has been great with Mike Williams. Greg Lawson is one of the top, like in that Makari Moore. He's a top 3, top 2, depending on who you're talking to, player in the class of 2025. And he also had a great football season. Obviously, Davison had a lot of success this year, so they're getting their basketball legs. They had a lot of success on the football field, and so they're getting their basketball legs after a deep football season. And then the capper, you got North Farmington versus Detroit UPrep. UPrep has Xander Wedlow at 6'9", is the top unsigned senior in the state of Michigan. He has the luxury, and I'm not saying that if you are, let's say, of TJ Kelly stature, that you should be waiting for offers going late into your senior year, but at 6'9", and he keeps on improving as a center. Xander Wedlow, he's got plenty of opportunities in front of him, and they've got some other guys on that team, so that's going to be an interesting matchup between North Farmington and UPrep, and then obviously you've got Dylan Smith. So it's great to see bigs go against bigs in high school, because that doesn't always be the case, because sometimes you got 6'3" offensive linemen just leaning on those legs.
And so that's all day Saturday.
All day Saturday at Ferndale.
At Ferndale High School, the Horatio Williams Freedom Classic.
Yep, starting at noon.
Starts at noon. Again, you cannot get more bang for your buck than being in the gym and getting a chance to experience all that hoops in one afternoon if you got time. And I don't think the weather's going to be too bad down here, so I think you guys are going to be all right. Make sure you check that out. And just as we wrap it up to bring it full circle, so State Champs has been on for 21 years. Tawan Porter was a point guard for Detroit Renaissance in the early era of State Champs.
I mean, even if and right before then, to be honest, you go back to 2004, and I believe you have Torrey Jackson, who was at Saginaw, Buena Vista.
That's right.
And they wound up winning 2 state titles.
Yeah.
And so now he's back in the high school scene. I mean, he wound up finishing at Notre Dame as their all-time assist leader. And so, hey, shout out to Torrey Jackson. Shout out to Juan Porter. It's great to see guys come back and give back and say, hey, this is what I learned. I want to go out there and share my knowledge with you guys and make you guys better. And that's only going to make high school basketball in Michigan better.
No doubt. Take care of the next generation, man.
Without a doubt.
Pay it forward. So we're excited. All right. So we got a lot to get to this season. We're going to be here each and every week. If you have things that you want us to talk about, or more specifically TJ to talk about, you can do so. Just slide into our DMs. Just hit us up on the socials. Obviously, we're going to post these on YouTube and things of that nature. Please get into the comments. It really helps our algorithm, helps us build the State Champs channel. We need to do that this year. That's one of our goals for 24 is really get YouTube pulled up. So tell us what you want us to talk about. Comment on what we're talking about. If you think he doesn't know what he's talking about, say it. And we'll even do some random fan comment interaction here too. So a lot to get to this year. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week.
State Champs Hangtime is presented by Lawrence Technological University. Be curious, make magic. Hangtime is also brought to you by the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. The Michigan Army National Guard, proud partner of the MHSAA. And the Detroit Athletic Club Foundation Athlete of the Year Award applications now being accepted until March 31st, 2024 for the male and female athletes of the year. Download the application today at dacathleteoftheyear.com. You cannot be nominated if you don't apply.